Hi, this is Preetha and you're watching Dakshin Curry. India is a country of festivals. I'm sure you will agree with that. And whenever there is a festival, it is always equivalent to good food on your plate, right? In down south, we have this festival called as Thiruvathirai, which is usually celebrated in the months of December to Jan, somewhere between mid-December to mid-January. And this is to commemorate the cosmic form of Lord Shiva as Natarajar. And whenever we have Thiruvathirai, there are these two special preparations which are made, without which the Naivedyam or the Prasad is not complete. One is the Kali and the other one is the Koot. Today I am going to show you how to make Thiruvathirai Kali. Let's have a look at the ingredients. I am using rice here. I have used half a cup of rice. Along with that, I will be using 2 tablespoons of moong dal, and I will be coarsely grinding it into a powder or Rava. We will get into the Rava bit later on. Apart from that, I am using 1 cup of jaggery. Now I am using double the quantity of jaggery. So if I have used half cup of rice, I am using 1 cup of jaggery. If you have a sweet tooth, what you can do is you can add 1/3 more. So you can make it as 1/3. Apart from that, here I have around 1/3 cup of grated coconut. I will be using 1–1.5 teaspoons of ghee for cooking the kali. Then I have few cardamoms. You can use crushed cardamom also, around 2 to 3. I am using cardamom powder in the recipe. Dry fruits are optional in this recipe. A simple kali recipe does not have dry fruits, but I will be using a little bit of flaked slivered almonds in this recipe. And apart from that, last but not the least is water. Now again you will be using around 1/3 cups of water for cooking this. So the quantity again is half a cup of rice to 1 cup of water, and 1/3 cup extra is used to basically dissolve the jaggery. So like I told you, really simple ingredients. You can find them in the pantry at all times, right? And what are we waiting for? Let's make this recipe. The first step here is going to be dissolving the jaggery. So I have a kadhai here. What I am going to do is firstly put this, and I am going to add very little water and jaggery. Idea is to dissolve the jaggery. We are not going to cook it at this point. All we need to do is dissolve the jaggery, because I want to again remove it and strain it. It's always better to dissolve this and then strain it to remove impurities if any. Now while this is going to just dissolve, let us talk about this Rava here. Now what I have done is, I have taken rice and I have taken moong dal, and all I have done is I have roasted both of them separately in a pan, dry roasted this, and you have to ensure that both of them are nice and pink, because that is what is going to give color apart from the jaggery to this sweet preparation that we are making. So ensure that you roast this nice and pinkish brown, both of them separately, and then you have to just grind this. Now as you can see, my Rava, the rice is ground nice and coarse, and there are some parts of moong which are nicely crushed. Now the idea is not to crush it completely, which is why I have ground it together. If you want to coarsely crush it separately, you can do that also. Some people don't even do that. They boil the moong dal and use it in the recipe. What you can do is, to quicken this process, you can grate your jaggery. That will save on time. Now if you want, instead of using moong dal in the recipe, what you can also do is you can add chana dal. Like when my mother makes it, she uses chana dal also in the recipe. If you are using this same proportions when you are going to make it at home, all you need to do is add 1/4 cup of chana dal also. The process remains the same roasting and again the grinding. Now as you can see, the jaggery is almost melted. I am going to quickly remove this, and I will be using the same kadhai for cooking. Like I told you, the idea is to just remove impurities if any. Now this next step is going to be the cooking, basic cooking of the rava. So what I am going to do is add the rest of the water, and we'll just allow this to boil, and along with that we'll add our jaggery also, not too many impurities. So just remove this and add the jaggery liquid. What we are going to do is now turn up the heat, and now we are going to cook this rava. Now before that, an important step that you need to do is to add coconut. The coconut is always added when your jaggery is boiling. It's not cooked separately. What I'll be doing is I will be toasting a little bit of this along with ghee later on. So I'm keeping some aside. We'll just allow this to come to a quick boil. As you can see, it's just starting to bubble. Now at this stage, what I'm going to do is, let me take my spatula, keep this ready. Now we'll add this rava little by little, ensure that there are no lumps. Keep mixing. An easy way of doing it is to do it in a pressure cooker. Dump everything in a pressure cooker and just give it 3 whistles. But remember that it should not be too mashed up. It should be nice and fluffy, like how when you make dalia upma. Just mix this, add the rest of it. As you can see, the rava is already absorbing the jaggery little by little. What I am going to do is I am going to add very little cardamom powder. Just give this a quick mix, and now we will have to cover and cook this till jaggery is completely absorbed, the liquid is completely absorbed. And you need to keep stirring in between and checking that it doesn't settle to the bottom or it does not get burned. Let's have a look at our kali. Okay, now as you can see, the moisture is completely absorbed, still a little left. What I am going to do is I am going to reduce the flame and I am going to add some ghee. Now you can add some ghee while cooking in between also. I am adding just around a teaspoon and just mix this. Now it also depends on what variety of rice you are using. There are some varieties of rice which take up some more water. So there are chances that instead of 1:2 ratio, you might need to use 1:2.5 cups of water. So 1 cup of rice you will need to use 2.5 cups of water. As you can see, this is nice and dry, and this is how we want it. What we are going to do is, I'll get myself a serving plate and I'll just transfer these contents. Just switch off the flame at this stage, and I'm just going to transfer this. Now like I told you, the color is going to be mainly from the rice and from the jaggery. If you are going to use native jaggery, which is much darker, you will get a much richer color. See, and the same pan, what we will do is we'll just saute the almonds. Just take some ghee. Switch on the pan first of all. And firstly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the rest of the coconut that I have. Just toast it. At this stage what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the almonds. If you want, you can add raisins, you can add cashew nuts, your choice. Just give this a mix, and once it's kind of pinkish brown, we'll switch off the flame and then we'll garnish it. But like I told you, traditionally there is no mention anywhere of using any kind of nuts, sultanas or anything like that. Now this is just starting to brown. Let us switch this off, and remember that the sweet is made specifically with jaggery. So if you are going to ask me, Preetha, if you want to add sugar, can we make it? Of course you can make it, but then it's not going to be the authentic Thiruvathirai Kali. Just remove these onto bowl, and we'll just top this onto our prepared Kali. You can just smoothen this out a bit for presentation. Now traditionally you can do it on a banana leaf. Keep some betel nut leaves, supari, some bananas. Let's sprinkle this. Nice. And as you have seen, there's not too much of ghee also. This recipe is not loaded with ghee. The ghee is basically to cook and not for anything else. So as you can see, the Kali is not really cumbersome to make. It's really easy, doesn't take too much of time. So for those of you who don't know how to make Thiruvathirai Kali, please have a look at this video and make this recipe, and then you have to comment. Please give me your feedback. I'm always looking forward to hearing from you. Hit subscribe from India Food Network, and until next time, it's Preetha signing off. Bye.